Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, as you know, we have a couple of museums and performing arts centers and colleges that are really jewels in our community. And one of them, right at the top of the list, is the Hyde Collection in Glens Falls. There's art at the Hyde Collection that you'd probably have to go to Europe to see. And it's right here in our backyard. Well, joining me today is the Interim Director, and we'll explain what that means. This is Anne Saile. So welcome, Anne.
Thank you very much.
Very nice to have you here. I paused there for a second because you could say something like it's a crown jewel, but then you really think about how exceptional the Hyde Collection is, and all of a sudden you think, man, that doesn't even really describe it, right?
No, it doesn't. Not at all. It's beyond a crown jewel. I mean, it's really a treasure.
Yeah, it is a treasure. Yeah, good for you. Now, Anne is the Interim Director. Quite an interesting background. What is the connection? Well, first, what did you do before?
Well, I have, for my entire career, I've run multi-million-dollar organizations, mostly in healthcare. People probably know me well from my nearly decade of time at Bellevue Women's Hospital before it was sold to Ellis Medicine. But I've always run organizations that have been fairly large. So the Hyde has a very large collection, as you know.
Oh, sure.
And when Aaron Coe took another job, the board of directors asked me if I would step in because of my business expertise. Because we all know that in the arts, especially today, we need to pay attention to the business end of things as much as we do the art. And so we have some fabulous subject matter experts in art at the museum, and I'm happy to be there with my expertise.
Now, the board of directors is in search mode for a director, but boy, just what you just said, striking that balance is what really protects the arts and protects arts organizations, right?
Yeah.
However, you know, if you had one or the other, or just using the left side of your brain or the right brain, it wouldn't work. But you have a real love of art, which is why you were even attracted to this.
Right.
Tell me about that.
I've long been a collector of folk art, American folk art, and I have a deep appreciation for art. I mean, I just love it. I wanted to get a degree in art actually when I went to college, and went into administration instead. But I love it, and so that was, part of the draw. It's just it's a dream job if ever there were one.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Now, as a collector of folk art, and boy, that dovetails something we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But your whole life, you were very aware of the Hyde Collection, had been there, brought your children there.
Oh,
right?
yes. I grew up in this area myself,
That's right.
raised my family here. So we've been to the Hyde many times. In fact, my youngest daughter was in the juried art show when she was in high school. Yeah, so.
Which is a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, just a few.
Yeah, that's right. They've got their gala coming up, and they have a folk art exhibit coming up that we really need to talk about. Friday, October 6th is their annual gala. It is the opportunity for all of us to show support for the Hyde. For all those times that you go there. Sometimes you just go to feel peaceful. Sometimes you go to see something new and exciting. Right. Sometimes you go to learn something, and sometimes you go hands-on, right? So for all those times that you go to the Hyde, here's an opportunity to go to gala, have a great time, by the way, make a contribution to secure the future of the Hyde. Because you're right, you have to strike that balance between art and business. Right. Now, in talking solely about art, though, I think that the show that's opening, that the guests for the gala get a preview for, but opening 2 days later, maybe one of the biggest shows the Hyde has ever had.
It's going to be a big draw.
Yeah.
It's the American Folk Art Show. It's a shared legacy, and it is a show that has been around the country, and we are the final stop. So this is the last chance that people will have to see this.
Now, any followers of folk art might know the name Barbara Gordon. Barbara Gordon has, I think, arguably one of the largest collections of folk art, correct?
Yes.
And this show, which has been touring all over the country, is usually reserved for much larger museums, much larger collections.
It has been in very large.
So the place is going to be packed. Now, folk art, of course, has that wonderful sort of theme of you don't even have to be a trained artist. Folk art means you feel the need to express yourself in furniture, in painting, in sculpture, clothing. I mean, it could be anything, right?
Baskets.
Grandma Moses.
Right, and Grandma Moses, who is from Eagle Bridge, from our area.
That's
right. Yeah, it's probably a very famous folk artist around here.
And I think the word there is that I think she ran something like a farm stand or something.
She
right?
did. Yes, she ran a farm stand and she painted on the side. She began painting in, I think it was her 90s. So, you know, it's that is the nice thing about folk art is that it is art that is produced by the common folk.
That's right. Yes.
And so it is highly relatable.
Yes.
You know, people can really understand where the artist might have been coming from when they were doing something.
You know, and it's also the subject matter, because the subject matter isn't necessarily anything lofty. It could be their children. It could be a hillside.
Right.
You know, it's folk. It's where the folk live and where the folk, you know.
Right.
Go.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
I think
that
that's
they want to
fantastic.
preserve.
Yes, right, exactly. So the gala itself is Friday, October 6th. Tickets are like $150 and up, depending on what it is. But there's a live auction. Lily in the Rose is doing the catering. Anybody that's been around knows that makes it really special. The collection is open that evening, and there's a preview of this exhibit. I don't know what else you need to know.
Well, one thing to know is that Barbara Gordon, whose collection this is, will be there at the gala, and she will be speaking and giving tours. So it's a really, you know, excellent opportunity to come to the Hyde and see something very, very special. And the entire museum will be open that evening.
And you know what? This is not Montreal. This is not New York City. This is Glens Falls. This is right in our backyard. Those of you who've been to the Hyde know exactly what I'm talking about, and those of you who need to go again or just need to know that, you know, we really have to protect this treasure. That's the way to you know, that's the best way to describe this thing. Well, Anne, thank you very much for coming in.
Oh,
it's
a pleasure.
A pleasure to meet you, and just so happy that the Hyde is in your hands.
Well,
Really?
Thank you, and I'll look forward to seeing you and our viewers at the Hyde.
Good, thank you very much.
Okay.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.